Good morning, Eastern Oregon, on this July the 15th on AM on EOAlive, your connection to Eastern Oregon. Wow, what a morning, man. How you doing?
Awesome. We're already halfway through July.
I know. It's like I look at the numbers and it's like you're kidding me. Yeah. So
that's crazy. It's just hey, BC, if April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring?
What?
Pilgrims.
Oh, brother.
Gotta break the ice early in the morning. Well, this ain't early for most people, but it's early for me.
I know it. I know it. So Ben and Bennet Welch are going to join us here in just a little bit. Bennett's working on the setup there in the other room, and it was all set up. I don't know what he's doing. So
he's tweaking the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he knows that we can see him right now.
I know I don't think he does. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, hey.
That's the cool thing about this program that we use is you can see all the people that are in the lobby waiting. You can't hear them, but you can see them.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Bennett? Give me a thumbs up. No, he can't. All right. Yeah. Well,
it's all good. We got a couple minutes anyways. You can tinker around in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's take a look at how pretty that is out there.
Yeah, it's cooler today.
Yeah.
I watered last night, I watered the grass and the grass. I mean, I soaked it pretty good, but the grass was the ground was still a little bit wet when I got up this morning, which hasn't been the case the last few weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
It's been hot.
Well, and it was real hazy. It's funny. I came out the door and there's this weird amber glow,
Yeah, because of smoke.
Yeah, it was so weird.
They had that level 1 evacuation in Wallowa County yesterday.
Wow.
And I posted a thing on our page in case you guys want to check it out. It shows the different levels. I don't know it exactly by heart, but basically level 1 is like be prepared. Level 2 is like get ready. Level 3 is go. And it's like, what is it? Green, yellow, or yellow, something red or something like that. Or there was a bunch of evacuations on the west side last year, so just be prepared, people that live in areas where we have fires coming. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. If you're here with us this morning, please chime in and let us know that you're here. We'd love to hear how you're doing, and let's take a look at the weather here.
Oh, hot, smoky,
hazy. Yeah.
What's haze compared to smoke? What's the difference?
I don't know.
Is smoke a little thicker and the haze is a thinner smoke?
I don't know.
Me neither. I'm not a weatherman. That's the weatherman right there. Look at that swag.
I know.
Tagged out.
Look at that. So this is today and then tomorrow.
Just about the same, huh? Patches of smoke, sun and haze up right around 90, a little less. We could use maybe some humidity and some rain might help that. Good morning, Jimmy.
How you doing, man? Glad you're here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna bring Ben on, and maybe you can talk to him for a minute. And are you set up, Bennett? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear. Okay. Clip that microphone on your lapel. All right. All right. Here. Let's add these guys in.
Morning.
He takes after his mother.
I was like freaking out because I was like, well, why is it like, why can I not get any like audio and like all this stuff? And then like I look down and I like see this little earbud device. I'm like, oh
yeah, Brent had
it. I was wondering why you had headphones on.
No, I had it all set up, man. I thought like, okay, he's gonna. All righty. Well, hey, Bennet.
Ben, how are you? Bennet, good morning.
Good morning.
This is EOU head track coach Ben Welch, who's also Bennett's dad. I call him Benny Boy. That's my name for him. I don't know if anybody else does, but
We did when he was little.
Yeah, Benny's a pretty common nickname for me. So.
oh, and CCC Coach of the Year too this year, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Bennet, move your video box so that it's right behind your, with your mouse. Move the video that you're looking at so that's right behind your camera. So you're looking at the camera. So, okay. All right. Well, hey, so Mr. Ben Senior, talk to us a little bit about how you got into doing track. How did that all happen?
What I like to tell people is I had a big mouth and a small body and an older brother that was a lot bigger and meaner and faster than me. The only way I could escape him after mouthing off was to run through the woods. And when I was about 7 years old, I asked my dad, I said, I wish there was a sport where you could run through the woods. And he said, there is. It's called cross country. I said, I'm going to try that someday. So when I got to high school, there we went. So which led to track. All my older siblings did track. So that's kind of what got me into the track side of things. But so back when I was small and mouthy, that's what got me into running in general.
So where did you grow up at and stuff?
I grew up in outside of Wasilla, Alaska. So we had a dairy farm when I was small, and we would all run from one side to the other because my parents homesteaded, and then later they expanded and moved to the other side of the farm. But we would run over the homestead part where our uncle was. But we'd literally run a lot of the times because there were 3 creek crossings, 2 river crossings and a creek crossing in there, and that's salmon country, which in Alaska means bears. So you never wanted to be the last kid in line, is what it boils down to. So we were literally running. It was about a mile. So starting when we were, about 3 years old, you go to the older siblings and both over there. And so that had something to do with it too. Just growing up in the woods and the rivers and running from the older siblings and the bears, I guess. Although we never really ran from the bears, we just thought we were. So,
what were you going to ask, Kyle?
No, I was gonna ask him, like, is there like when you talk about running cross country, people must get some sort of I've heard that you get like this runner's high, right? Like there must be a way to mentally block that, because I've never gotten that, and I've ran a lot for baseball.
You got to go a little longer.
So, I'd run 3-4 miles. Training for baseball as a pitcher. But I never got that high.
Usually it takes more than that and more of a continuous effort. So I never experienced any of the endorphin kicks unless I went up over about 15. Some people it's lower, but so some of us it's more.
15 miles?
Yeah. So now I can't. It's hard to imagine that now.
Yeah, that's a long. That's a long way.
So
BC,
how did
you talk to him? I got to find that picture of him where he looks like Bernie Sanders so we can share it.
I know what picture you're talking about.
Yeah. So Ben, how did you get to EOU? Talk to us about that story.
Well, I kind of rattled around as an athlete, and one of my teammates in college ended up here as a grad assistant and then became head track coach in John's Bat. We were teammates at a community college in Washington, and then teammates and roommates at a NCAA Division II school in Nebraska. And then we both came back out west. I was coaching up in the Seattle area. I was the head coach at a community college, and then he got the head track job here. And when my predecessor on the distance side, Gary Fiesel, was getting ready to retire, John knew I wanted out of Seattle. And so he made me aware of this position. Of course, back then it was a lot less of a position than it is now as far as the financial remuneration. So, you know, I came on down here and figured I'd be here for 4 or 5 years, and that was 30 plus years ago.
Wow.
So, of course, Bennett's mom had something to do with that longevity. Since she's a local, deep rooted in the valley. Her family's been around here since like the 1880s. So it's kind of cool. You know, I grew up someplace where if you were born there, that was unique back, you know, back in the dark ages of the second half of the 20th century. You know, so there's a lot of things that will hold you in this place. So, and the positions have evolved. The athletic department in the university has evolved quite a bit in the last 30 years. So it's just a great place to be, a good place to raise kids. And
it's evolved for the good, Ben. Like EOU 30 years ago is not the same as it is today. Not even close.
Yeah. No, that's just true. So and there's some things that, better. You know, there's some things that, you know, some of the changes that would have been nice, some of the things that have been nice to hold on to are just societal. It's, you know, the less of an on-campus culture, I guess, nowadays. You know, more people in, you know, in their silos, in their cells, whatever the buzzword is for that now. You know, less kind of, you know, the campus used to seem busier with 1,500 to 2,000 students than it does now. So just the nature of the beast, I guess. But that's not EOU as much as everywhere. Yeah. It's just when you're this small of a campus, it's a little more noticeable.
Yeah.
So, although you go on U of O's campus and you walk around and you don't see anybody, and that's just flat out eerie. Because, you know, there's 25,000 students hidden somewhere. You just don't hardly see them.
That's true. That's true. When I was in junior college, there was like 35,000 people that went to the school. And I maybe knew like 50.
Yeah.
Because it was always the same people in the same classes. It was weird. It was like, how can 35,000 people go here and I only know this small group of people?
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
I found the picture. We got to show it. I mean, it's world famous. Now.
That is classic. I'll give you that one.
Oh, man. As soon as I saw that picture, even before they put it next to Bernie, it was right during that time when that picture came out. It was like, oh, man, he's burning up right there.
Fortunately, I was having a better day.
Yeah.
Wasn't Bernie Sanders at like Congress or something like that? Where was
that wasn't an inauguration or something like that?
The inauguration. Yeah. That's funny. That's just hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of EOU, Ben, if you look behind me, there's all that EOU stuff. And there's one team that's missing up there.
I was eyeballing that. I was going to give you a hard time about that. I was like, dude, where's our stuff?
Hey, I haven't ever got anything.
Oh, yeah.
On Bennet.
We can blame that on Benny Boy.
You actually can, because he's been wanting me to get one of those EOU track and field face masks for him for a long time, and I haven't. I haven't asked you to for one of those yet, Dad. To give to him.
I couldn't do it myself.
Yeah, it's more fun to harass him.
Yeah, way funner. You have no idea.
So
you
Ben,
probably do have an idea.
Yeah, very good idea.
So Ben, has there been anyone longer at the school in the athletic department than you?
Sam Grist.
Sammy.
Yeah, Sam's been there, I don't know, since like the 1930s or something like that, but or the 80s, one or the other. So yeah, Sam came here as a student in the late 80s and started working in the athletic department when he got here. And he was here when I got here. I think he was just making a transition from a student to a full-time employee. So, and then of course, Angie, in a roundabout sort of way, she was playing basketball when I got here. It's kind of odd thing that my boss was, you know, a student athlete when I got here. That's how long I've been here. So, so So it depends on how you want to count that. So, but
Well.
Sam primarily, we all call Sam the oldest guy. Angie won't take blame for it because she says, I was just a student athlete. That doesn't count.
You just dated Angie too, by the way.
Yeah, I know it. Big 5-0, man. So she's in my decade now.
So Bennet,
Mhm.
when as a kid, when you were growing up, when did you first realize that your dad was a runner and that was a big part of his? I mean, were you 2 or 3 and you're like, wait, slow down? I don't know. Yeah.
I think he passed me up at about 3.
realizing what it was like my dad actually did.
Yeah,
Right.
and that was part of your destination too.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I got into track, I mean, around middle school. So, I mean, I don't, to actually say, when did I realize what it is my dad actually does?
He probably still doesn't.
Yeah. I mean,
some days I don't.
I mean, to put it together, oh, my dad is a coach and he coaches athletes and they run and compete and all this stuff. I don't know if there's really any time frame that I can actually really put that together. But I mean, realizing, but how I said, realizing that it was my destiny to be running too. I mean, just sometime around middle school, just seeing all my siblings doing track and cross country and, seeing that my dad was a coach and everything like that. I was like, hey, I want to do this too. And I went out and did it and I just got better and better at it. And, around high school, I was like, oh, hey, this is really what I want to do. This is my sport, sort of thing. And so, yeah, so that's how I got onto the runner's path. So.
And so you were a freshman this year on your dad's team. Is that right? I'm trying to, or
Correct.
no. Yeah. Okay. And so why don't you talk a little bit about your routine? I mean, I know you work out every day. How many miles a week do you run? I don't know. For those people like me that I barely run to my car, or I might run to the bathroom in the middle of the night. That's about it. But what how much running is involved with what you do?
Let me lay some groundwork first, Benny.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Bennett's a distance runner. Because I mean, he's not just a part of the track team. He could be a shot putter, but no, he's a distance runner, so he's going to relate to distance running.
Right. Well, right now, we have base training, and so we're just doing a lot of mileage, and it's it started out at it depends on the runner and how experienced they are and that kind of stuff. For me, right now I'm running about 45 miles per week, and it's kind of working its way up towards 50 or so. Some of the more higher level runners are running, I think, 80, right, Dad? Am I correct on that?
We've got one guy that'll work up to, maybe 2 that'll work up to 80 this summer, some of the older guys. So, but most of them are in, we were a pretty young team, so most of them are in the 40 to 50 right now, and then heading to the 50 to 70 range.
I'm not even going to drive 80 miles this week, let alone run.
Yeah. Trust me, I used to do that stuff, and sometimes I'm like, how did we do that?
But yeah, and then during season we would get up at I think 5:30 in the morning, and then we'd go to the gym and do some light weight routine, weightlifting routines, and then we would alternate between an easy day, which is doing mileage, and then we'd do a hard day, which is like a running workout. So Dad can probably go a little more in depth about like what the workouts were like and that kind of stuff.
So talk a little bit, Ben, about how you help keep your guys in shape, people in shape, because you have guys and girls.
Yeah. So a lot of it is trying to keep them healthy is part of it. So that's why part of the reason we're in the weight room is trying to build strength so they're stabler when they're running. They run more efficiently. You train to race, and that's one of the things that we always try to drill into their heads is that we're doing all this training so you can race better, because racing's what's truly the enjoyable part of it. I mean, there's some elements of the training that are enjoyable, especially when all of a sudden you get fit enough, you realize there's not a very high percentage of the population that can do what you're doing. And if you look at the population as a whole, we try to just give them the aerobic base they need and work on their speed base and work on their strength base and try and build them for the future. If they want to continue to run the rest of their life, I try to send them out of here with the ability to do that. Try to send them out of here not all tore up, feet and knees and stuff like that. Doesn't always work, but usually it does. But a typical week, he mentioned that they'll be in the weight room in the morning 2 days a week. And then in the afternoon, we'll meet 5 days a week. And then most of the younger athletes will have one of the weekend days off and then run either light or long on the other one, depending on whether we race. So they're, if they're doing everything right, it's about 4 hours a day. It's about 20 hours a week. The NCAA divisions, all three of the NCAA divisions actually limit it to 20 hours a week, and you have to log it. Thank goodness we don't have to do that. I'm not a paper person, as Angie would probably tell you. So that's all inclusive. That's your weight room. That's your training sessions. That's your kind of your going into the athletic training room and rolling out, taking ice baths occasionally, stuff like that, or cold water baths, and things like that. If you're not willing to put 20 hours a week into it, it's going to be tough to be competitive. So.
It seems like you have a lot of young talent, especially in distance.
Yeah, no, it's for whatever reason, it's a pretty young group. Although all of a sudden I realized that I got a handful of senior gals. Like, how'd they get that old? It takes, all this pandemic stuff, you kind of lose track of where people are at, right?
Yeah.
It's like you mentioned earlier, it's the middle of June already, or July. See, I'm a month behind. I'm trying to figure out where that last month went.
Yeah.
Let alone the last year. So, but yeah, no, it's a good young group. I've got a few older guys in there, and that helps. And then got some good layers on the men's side. My women's class is pretty heavily seniors and incoming freshmen. But the guys are a little bit more spread out. So a couple of freshmen, three guys that came in this last year, or four with the transfer, counting Bennet. And so it's kind of segregated through there, but no real big classes like on the women's side. I have a couple of big classes, not a lot in between, and that's for a lot of reasons. But it's weird how it works out sometimes. You try not to do that. You try to do more what I have on the men's side, where you have good layering, because by the time you're a senior, you really figured things out. And it's important to have those older guys that have made the transition from a high school athlete to an adult athlete, basically.
Yeah.
Like my wife used to say, the difference between coaching high school and coaching college, because she did both, was in high school you coached kids all the way through. They just came as young kids and left as old kids. In college, you got some young adults and some kids in, but they all left as adults. Some more responsible than others, but hey, there's the Brents of the world and there's the Donzies of the world. What can we say? No. I'm surprised Donzie didn't come back and say, "Yeah, I know that Brent. We're still trying to get him to, calm down." But no. So
I tell Bennet a few times, I'm a huge Hunter Nichols fan.
Yeah. Nichols is a great example of what I'm talking about. Small school kid, very good talent, extremely good student, just a highly intelligent young man. But in high school, he didn't train in the summers. He was just so talented, and he worked hard enough in the seasons. And his dad was his coach, and his dad had been a competitive runner. But he worked in the summers. He works in the fields. He drives the combines and tractors, but he works from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So it's pretty tough to find time to get out there and put in miles. But the thing he figured out this year by getting to the national meet, both indoor and outdoor, was that speed may kill, but mileage rules. Basics
Right.
came, and he got worked by people that were older and stronger and just had more miles under their belt. So he's having a good summer of training right now, because that's a very determined young man as a result. But he is smart enough to figure it out. We can tell him that, and you can show them the data and stuff, but until they experience that, and sometimes the best way to do that is to get whooped by older, stronger guys, so.
Morning, TJ.
It's a different world.
He looks like he goes from coyote hunting to running. That's kind of like
yeah.
Or like you said, from riding his tractor to putting on his. I don't even know what do you guys wear for shoes? Like New Balances, or I don't know nothing about running.
That depends on what they put on their feet. So, but we don't have. We don't have a shoe budget, so they wear whatever they can find that works for them. So, we can get them discounts on stuff, but so it's all across the board. So, but he definitely does. It's kind of funny, you look at that mullet and you see him pulling up in his big truck, and you never guess he's pre-med, almost, a superb student.
Yeah, he's like the only guy that I know that can wear a mullet and it actually looks like kind of good.
It's deception is what it is. Like, you see him out in public, you're like, oh, he works on a farm, and then you see him like, he's a distance runner. Like, what?
We got another mullet coming in this year too.
Yeah,
it's the popular thing. Mullets.
They're back. Yeah, as long as true bell bottoms don't make a comeback, right?
Yeah.
Angie does not want big hair to make a comeback.
No, I'm sure there's some pictures of her with some.
They pull them out. The players pulling it out every once in a while. That and a mullet.
Well, I remember when she was coaching softball, late '90s. Yeah.
Hopefully she's not watching it.
she will later, I'm sure. Yeah, especially like, you were mentioned on the morning show. Yeah.
When you got a great boss, you can make fun of him.
Do you watch the Summer Olympics, Bennett? You guys watch the Olympics? I love the Summer Olympics. It's my favorite.
I do. So he's not much of a TV guy.
Yeah,
so,
I'm kind of a little too absorbed in your
head.
Yeah, and just
Bennett's world.
Bennett stuff.
Just Bennett stuff.
Yeah, to put it simply, to really watch the Olympics. So
when he was little, we thought about getting him. He got a little bit older, but was still pretty young. We thought about renting Wayne's World for him, because we always used to say Bennett's World, because he's off doing his thing, But we thought if he watches that movie, he's never gonna let it go.
Yeah, you guys.
So we never did get it.
Yeah, it would have. You guys would have been so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys would have been really annoyed by that decision.
So for people that don't know, Bennet has been my longest employee at this point. He's been with me almost. What did we figure out the other day? 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, well, because I started in the summer of 2016, so it's the summer of 2021. So yeah, it's been about 5 years.
So he started as you'd completed your freshman year, so you were a sophomore.
Yeah.
And so you interned for us that summer, and then a summer after that, and then I think the third summer you started getting paid, and so and here you are, and Bennet is our main producer, video editor, and we would be lost without him. So
and that piece that you just did on the Puget Sound air thing, man, that's good, Bennet.
Wow. It is, really good storytelling.
Go check it out on our Facebook page or on YouTube if you're watching and you want to just scroll down. There's a piece on the Puget Sound Air Club, and Bennet killed that one. Wow.
Thanks.
He's a kid when he was 5 years old. One time my cell phone starts ringing, and it's him going, ring, 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 telephone's ringing, ring, ring, telephone. I didn't even know you could set custom ringtones. And his 5-year-old records it on my phone without telling me.
I remember that.
So it was his voice saying,
It was easy to tell it was my phone.
That's funny. I wish you had a recording of that. That would be funny.
Yeah, I do too. That phone tried to burn, but literally, one day I was using it and it tried to catch on fire. It was an old BlackBerry. So, the battery kind of went bad. So, but couldn't get anything off of that. But it was pretty cool. Yeah. So he might have been 6. He was somewhere around there, 5 or 6 years old. I replaced the phone when he was like 7 or so, and he 7 or 8 redid it for me, but fun.
Because I remember that phone and discovering that I could watch YouTube on it. At like 7 or and so so I probably used that phone more than he did.
Absolutely. I'm like, where's my phone? Why is my phone's battery dead?
And I don't know. Did they have data limits back then? Like,
no, those were good plans. Those were when you still had unlimited plans. Actual unlimited plans.
So so I remember that. I just like watched like a ton of like Minecraft like let's play videos on it and like that kind of stuff.
The little one where the duck went down to the corner store. Got any grapes? That's why we didn't get in Wayne's World.
So Bennet, do you have any funny stories about your dad? He told one about you taking his phone. Do you have any?
Scoot closer to the screen, Benny. Scoot closer. You're like
he knows it feeds him. He'll be careful on this. He knows.
There's not really any that I can think of off the top of my head. Like I'm sure that there is one, but right off the top of my head, I can't think of like any like really funny stories. So
good answer.
I wish I did. I don't know. I'll think about that, and if I can bring it up later or something. So, but
I will tell you this: one day here, about a year or two ago, he's standing in the kitchen. He goes, Dad, it used to worry me that I was weird like you were, but nowadays I think it's just kind of fun.
Wait, I really said that.
So I try to blame his weirdness on his mother, but everybody knows where it comes from. The musical ability he gets from his mother. I couldn't carry it. I know which end of a guitar you point at what, but that's about it.
So, well, I don't think you could have like genetically like built a better runner's body than Bennett's. I mean, he's 6 foot. What are you, Bennet? 6'1"s?
6'3" almost.
You're that tall?
Yeah.
6'3", long, lean. I mean, you can't build a better runner's body than that, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Kenyans are like between 5'6" and 6'1" and like rail thin, but for a more standard American model, it gets around pretty good. Doesn't look, he's got a loping along. You think he's going slow, and then you start putting a watch on it, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess he's just almost 6'3" and mostly legs. So
Yeah.
moving pretty good there.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is there ever a time, Bennett, where it's like, man, I got to take, when I take 5 strides, those other people take 7 or 8. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah.
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 Winnie
Yeah.
comes to mind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the other freshmen was named Winston. So he was complaining one time. He goes, I have to take 3 steps for every 2 he takes.
yeah, I can imagine so. Yeah.
All right, let me pop the question. I've been wanting to ask you this for a while, Ben. Are you going to retire when Bennett's done?
It's not the current plan.
No?
So I kind of like to go to full retirement age, which is 10 years. So hopefully he's
10
done
more
before
years?
that. Yeah, we'll see. So somewhere between 4 and 10. So
That leaves it pretty open right there. So
Yeah.
somewhere between 4 and 10.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Depends on how well my marbles can stay collected in my noggin. If I start losing more of them, it might be a little different. But
Yeah.
Hey, just spend more time doing this.
yeah.
Stay.
Yeah. So Ben, help me. So you're the track coach for all of the tracks.
Yeah,
or tell me. Yeah, help.
Technically, head cross country and head track and field for men and women.
Okay.
And my primary event areas that I coach are the distances, and then I'll most of the administrative stuff, and then I have a full-time assistant in Rebecca Rhodes, who covers the sprint, jumps, hurdles, and then I have basically some volunteers, small stipend people that come in. And Dirk Bortz is a high school math teacher out in Elgin, and actually threw for me my first year as head track coach. He was a transfer, and then he became a school record holder for us. Still has the distance record. Trying to get him somebody to break it. But he comes in after work and coaches the throwers and does a marvelous job. And then Bob Heisteman, who is a LeGrand guy, graduated from LeGrand High, actually still has LeGrand High's school pole vault record from like 1985 or something like that. Went to U of O. Yep, went to U of O, and then got this, graduated about the time Major 5 passed, and cutbacks were going left and right. He graduated with a physical education degree, and there just were no jobs. And he started working construction and during college, and then ended up doing that for a number of years, and then moved back here. Fortunately for us, it's been 8 years already, I think, and does a marvelous job with our pole vaulters. Comes in 2 days a week in the afternoons and early evenings. So, and then Joe Brogdon. So Dodzy will recognize that name. Longtime educator and coach at LeGrand High. Was actually Bob's high school coach. Works with the volunteers and works with our javelin throwers. So, and then this year I'll have Nick Mask, who was one of our former athletes, highly accomplished athlete for me. He's going to be my volunteer on the cross country side of things with the distance runners in general. So, because there are days, that with men and women, it's pretty tough to monitor everything. So having another set of eyes that especially that knows what you're trying to accomplish, makes a big difference. So, but it's 2 full-time people for around 80 athletes is a bit of a stretch, but
wow, yeah,
we make it work. So we wouldn't be able to make it work without the volunteers. So, guy that was our grad assistant a couple of years ago, Connor Bracken, he's now assistant manager at Mamacita's. He helps with the hurdles and does a great job there. He also does, if I need something done, like a recruiting piece done, does the graphics on that. So, it's there's a lot of pieces in it. That's one thing. There's, we mentioned the difference between now and 30 years ago. There's a lot more administrative stuff now than there was 30 years ago. So a lot more tracking of things.
80 athletes is a lot too. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's almost as many as football.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. They've got, I think, four 4 full times. So, but a lot of that's because Tim Camp works his tail off and, makes that happen. He's runs camps to make that
Offset the
fourth position. Yep. That fourth position wouldn't exist if it wasn't for how hard him and his staff work at camps. Football is one of those sports where camps are a pretty lucrative thing. So that's good. But they also spend a lot of their summers doing that. So I don't envy him being out there. Yeah, I don't envy him that right now, as hot as it is. So
Yeah.
So that field house could, continue to get up and be a place to get out of the sun as well as out of the snow in the winter. So
absolutely,
yeah,
that's pretty exciting. When's that supposed to be finished?
April of 22. So you talk about longevity and that span. A friend of mine's coach at the University of Michigan. He's the women's coach at the University of Michigan, and they completely built this beautiful indoor facility. Fancy hydraulically adjustable corners, they go up and down a 200-meter track. And I saw that, I sent an email. I said, you're going to be pretty happy about that. He goes, yeah, that added a few years to my coaching shelf life. He's about 10 years older than I am, so he was in his early 60s at the time, and he goes, "Yeah, it might get me to 67." So, so facilities, that's a lot to do with it, and part of it is it just makes it a more enjoyable experience for the student athletes.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier to make people fast when you have quality facilities. And you're not beating them up. We used to kind of joke that our old track would eat people because it was so hard. It just beat them up from the back down, but really from the knees down, especially the distance runners and their feet and their Achilles. But the dog just came in to say hello. But having that beautiful surface we have out there now, that made a huge difference in that building's. Whether we can fit a competition track in it before I retire or not, it's going to make a huge difference. If you go to the EOU webcams and you click on that field house and look at what they have up right now, that is almost the same square footage as what we practice in right now. We're in an old gym that's 45 by 100. And what they had framed up as of last night was a 50 by 80 portion of it. And that's almost the same square footage as what we're practicing in now. And if you look at it, you see how small a portion of that building it is, and it kind of puts things in perspective. So it's pretty fantastic.
There's your EOU webcam right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you look at that little section up there to the left where they have all the framing up and stuff, that's almost the size of what we're practicing in now. And then you can see the rest of that gravel slab there. So there's
which direction is that facing? I'm
looking south. It's on Doherty Hall, on the south side of Doherty Hall. So you're looking towards Geckler.
Oh, okay.
Back here's Geckler. The softball field's over here.
Yep. Yeah, the track's to the right and the stadium's to the right of that. So So you
look at these guys.
So, yeah, the camp kids. That one kid looks like he's not doing so. Up there, he's up. I guess he's just trying to didn't know if he was praying to the porcelain gods or what. That's what get down on your knees and recycle your breakfast.
Well, thank you guys for jumping in. Is there anything else, Ben or Bennett, you want to talk to us about before we take off? No.
I'll just kind of wrap up by saying I really appreciated what you guys have done for him. I know he does a lot for you and you appreciate what he does, but that's been a great gig for him. It's kind of helped feed his passion and give him direction and stuff. And this kind of thing as a parent, you're hoping that they can find. So I appreciate you all helping with that. So, and it's
he's a good kid, man.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
That's what people tell us. So I think you see him more than I do. So I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, I just gotta say, that I'm very proud to, have my dad as my dad, and and everything he's done, and I feel like I learned something new about him, a lot, because he's done a lot in his life, and it's just, he's a great dad, and I'm like how he said, I probably see you guys more than I do him. We're both off kind of in our own world at home a lot. He goes upstairs and reads, and I
play video games.
go off in my room and either play guitar or scroll through an endless amount of social media, but or off with friends or something like that. But obviously the love is there for my dad, and it's very big, and I know that he feels the same, and I'm just proud. That's all I can really say is I'm proud of my dad and glad to call him my dad. So so glad that he gets a little spotlight today.
Well, and that's awesome. And you will kind of reflect back on this time, Bennet, when you're, 10 or 15 or 20 years from now, and you will look at it fondly because it is unique, not, I mean, the percentage of people that run, let alone get to run for your dad, your own father, that's,
right.
That's gotta be minuscule. And,
right.
And that you get to know him and appreciate him, and that's just awesome. Good for you.
I try not to be the psychotic parent.
That's good.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, thanks, you guys.
Thanks, guys.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
You.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Get to
Have
work.
a good day.
All right.
Work, Once you got something to do. All right, let me bring out my list so we can get out of here. On this day in 1876, baseball's official first no-hitter was 1876. George Bradley of the St. Louis Brown Stockings no-hit the Hartford Dark Blues, and they won 2-0. 1934, on this day, Continental Airlines commences operation. 1952, on this day, was the first transatlantic helicopter flight. It began on this day. It took more than one day. 1954 was the first commercial jet transport plane built in the U.S. that was tested on this day, the Boeing 707. 1999, on this day, was the inaugural game at Safeco Field in Seattle.
99?
Safeco's where your Seattle Mariners play.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what, BC?
What?
Guess what? We got something different today. Finally, no more Paula. Number one song in the country, 1991. EMF, unbelievable. These guys right here, number one song in the country. Let's see here. What else did we have? The quote for the day. Let's do it. It's Bruce Lee. Absorb what is useful. Discard what is not. Add what is uniquely your own. So one more time. Absorb what is useful. Discard what is not. And then add what is uniquely your own. Pretty good quote. Absolutely. Yep. It's Thursday. We'll see you on Tuesday. We're out of here.
Yeah. So real quick. Crazy days this weekend. We're that is most of the day on Saturday. Starts at 10 a.m. There'll be a car show downtown, down Main Street, or Adams is what it's called. But so please come down and take it. And then we're going to be streaming the cruising part of the car show starting at 7:00 on Saturday night. And that's a fun thing. I mean, the guys, it's, all these people, and there'll be probably 50 cars, and they're like cruising like a bunch of teenagers. And these are all, many of them are senior adults who can afford older, nice cars and stuff. And so it's just a fun time. So
I'm going to bring back some memories, man. I used to cruise that.
That's right.
But Safeway used to be where we're going to be, right across the street.
So
that was the turnaround point. You'd turn around in Safeway parking lot. You go all the way down to where light truck is now, and you turn around there, and then you just go back and forth and back.
So
and
yeah,
forth.
cruising the strip, and so yeah, and that is happening at Max Square. Is kind of where we'll be congregated at, and we'll be streaming at. Pepsi is sponsoring that with us, so that you can come down and have a free Pepsi drink. So, all righty.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Sports show Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 5:30 a.m. on EOAlive, 8 o'clock Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have a new nightly news roundup every night at 6, and then weather at 5:30 on Fridays. Is that right? Somewhere right around there, 5:36. And then one other thing, like we've been talking about on all the shows, we are the exclusive streamers of the 2021 East-West Shrine Game, which is going to take place in Baker City on August 7th at 7 p.m. And we're super excited about that. This is a huge production sports-wise, and we just want everybody to share that we're doing it and to watch it. It's going to be super cool.
Yep, good deal.
See you on Tuesday. Appreciate you, Eastern Oregon.
Thank you.